The following is a special presentation of iRacing on LSRTV, your home for sim racing.
Live tonight from Sonoma here. Gabe Wood, myself, Austin Coop, Cisco Scar moves it in the booth here with LSRTV as we bring you the Pro Series to the Peak Antifreeze Series. We're going to have 42 drivers at the only road course on the schedule. Gabe, this is going to be a very kind of classic way of racing, but we talked pre-broadcast, this is going to be a race where we have no official cautions. It's going to go green the whole way, and that's going to make this race pretty darn interesting.
Yep, Austin, when we go to Daytona and Talladega, you always call that race the wild card, but here on iRacing, Sonoma's really another one of those wild card races because everybody has the opportunity to practice a lot at Sonoma and Watkins Glen. I feel like Sonoma is a lot more tricky of a track to get a handle on, but it's still a fun flowing road course. You know, the Indy cars use it. I think Grand Am used to run here, but it's just such a great road course, and it fits very well to these NASCAR stock cars. So while everybody's in Daytona right now testing for the 24 hours of Daytona, some of these guys are getting ready to try and lock themselves into the Peak Antifreeze Series.
That's a really good point to make. You know, for the 24 hours, a lot of these guys are kind of used to doing a lot of road course racing at this point, so it's definitely not going to be completely out of their wheelhouse. Not like they had to pick up turning left and right for the first time in a long while. But you know, there's a lot of drivers out here that are really comfortable in this in here. You know, we saw last season that Ryan Luza, this was one of the only races he did not win. I think that in Daytona, and so that just kind of shows you that somebody out in this mix may not be the driver, may win this race and not be the driver that we kind of expect to win at the end of the night. So we don't really have an official point standings because of the drop series, the drops here. We can at least give you a top 5, top 10 picture, and I don't know if we have a graphic for it or not, but Nicholas Shelton, Casey Kerwin, Brandon Pipgrass, Brad Davies, Keegan Lahey, Colton Davis, Justin Bolton, David Rattler, Will Cooley, and Michael Gass. So that's your top 10 for now, and some of those guys are pretty locked in, Gabe. They're really high up the points. I mean, Nicholas Shelton's an entire almost 100 points ahead of Casey Kerwin. These guys, they just need to run the races and get to the end of them.
Yep, and then you've got guys like Alex Bergeron, who's going to start on the pole here in front of guys like Jarl Tien, who had a great race going a couple weeks ago in Darlington, but then had it taken away from him in the late going, so he did not get the finish he deserved. But he's qualified 4th here and practicing very well. He's actually practiced, I believe, 3rd fastest, so he's going to be one to deal with, along with Bergeron, Garrett Lowe, Keegan Lahey, all the guys that we saw in Darlington. Looks like they've come and showed up here at Sonoma, and they're ready to battle for a win.
This very shy of 2 miles, 1.99 miles to be exact, and 10 turns is what we're going to be really discussing tonight. And Gabe, if you had to expect any turn to be the danger turn, might have to get your notebook. I know I'm going to have mine open for the track just because we don't come here that often, but do you think it's going to be like the last hairpin, or do you think it's going to be one of these other turns that are really going to get these drivers today?
Well, if we could ride on board with some of these guys, if we have time, we can catch somebody coming onto the back part of the racetrack, because these guys are going to have a lot to deal with when they get off of the S's at the top of the hill. But then, as they come down the hill, these guys are going to have something to deal with that long sweeping right-hand corner, Austin, before you hit the hairpin. It's a very difficult corner to judge. You come in there carrying so much speed, and you have to downshift to get the good exit. So it's going to be a difficult test for your hand-eye coordination and your ability to drive through that corner fast.
Right now he's going through corner 4A, and that would be with the regular course. Now, They're doing, you said earlier that there's a lot of different disciplines of racing that come through here, and the Cup course is definitely one that we're familiar with, but definitely different from the other ones, and we'll kind of go through the turns. Remember, there's 10 turns for this one. You know, the final turn being that hairpin turn. It's going to be really, really exciting. I think we're going to be in for a treat as the practice session is starting to get wrapped up. It looks like the checkered flag is out for it, and the cars are about to disappear on your screen, and we're about to get ready for the grid. And like you said, Alex Bergeron looks to get the pole for this race. Yes, he does. He and that number 33 machine need to do a lot of work today. This might be the race where they turn everything around. And also the pace car is going to be looking a little bit different. Remember, it's going to be the Porsche in this race because we're on a road course. So that'll be pretty fun to follow behind. Only for one lap, though, like we talked about. Sorry, that's the roof. Oh, man. I got to... Remember, like last Saturday we said a little jar. Well, that's where I put mine in. So that's the roof, not the Porsche. So
definitely not Porsche.
Yeah, I don't know what I saw the front end of it, and well, it's just better not to keep going on about it. So Alex Bergeron, he'll start from the pole, and then you'll have Keegan Lahey to his outside, or to the right, I should say. Then you've got Garrett Lowe in row 2 with the number 7 to draw tie-in. You said he needed a good week. He needs that badly. Then you've got Nicholas Shelton and Brad Davies, 5th and 6th. 7th, 8th, you've got Casey Kerwin and Colton Davis. And then in the 5th row, you got Jake Nichols and Benjamin Nelson.
The number 25 machine of David Rattler will roll off just outside the top 10. In 11th, John Gorlinski and number 34 machine will roll off in 12th. Dallas Pataska, PJ Sturgis, and Mikhail Cato roll off out just inside your top 15. Michael Garuglia in 16th, Brandon Boulos, Brandon Pitgrass, Nicholas Moore, Stephen Wilson round out your top 20.
David L. Brown starts from the 21st position with Will Cooley, 22nd, Mitchell Hunt, 23rd, Jacob Harberts starts 24th, Glenn Rockefeller Jr. will start from the 25th position, Blade Witt. 26th position, Liam Brotherton will start from 27th. 28th starts Brandon McKissick, and you've got Michael Guest and John Baptist Charles starting in the 30th position.
A couple of these guys back now into this field. Fast drivers on the ovals. We're going to have to try and get it done from the back here outside the top 30. Adam Benefield, Brian Blackford, Jeremy Davis, Sahil Mustaq in the 34th position. Robbie Rabiel Jr. in 35th. Jesse Schwartz, Kyle Putz, Zoltan Herzek in the 38th position. Joshua Campbell, Brian Frick, and your last 2 drivers in 41st and 42nd. Logan Sheets and Randall Fox round out your field.
Guys are going to be coming through the S's of sorts here, and they're going to get stacked up. A lot of drivers are going to have to catch up here in the hairpin. They'll have plenty of time to do it, but once these guys get going, this field is going to get very spread out very quickly, and looks like Alex Bergeron will be able to get through all of this as the first driver to do so, and he'll have a lot of drivers, 41 drivers behind him, making a total of 42. That roof pace car is going to go through the tire barrier. I wish I could do that. But he'll be able to go through the hairpin here. He'll start these guys off as they go through the hairpin. All 42 cars ready to go, and he's off and ready to go. Green flag in the air here at Sonoma. We're going on for 55 laps here.
Keegan Lahey in the number 11 machine did not get the start that he wanted in that on that outside pole position, as he just stepped on his own feet and falls back to third now as Alex Bergeron bolts out to a lead. Garrett Lowe is going to take over that second spot. Meanwhile, looks like the 3 machine of Casey Kerwin and Nicholas Shelton, they're going to battle just inside the top 5.
Yeah, as these top drivers start to get spread out, I mean, this is going to be something where you have to decide your battles pretty quickly. Burn your tires up too soon. There's no caution that can really save you. You're seeing the 5 going on the inside of the 25. It's going to be PJ Sturgis. He went in and had a big move. He's trying to do the same on the 21 right here, but no avail. The right side gets up on those barriers, and he'll have to continue. But he got a very good pass on the 25 right there for position. It looks like everyone else in front of him single filed out as we're expecting, and I think this first lap is pretty clean, at least that I can see.
Yep, everybody's still on track by the looks of it. All 42 drivers snaking their way around Sonoma, formerly Infineon Raceway, as they come through the hairpin. Lap number 1 looks like it's going to go to Alex Bergeron in the number 33 machine. Keegan Lahey now going back, trying to catch the number 1 machine of Garrett Lowe, as he did move into the second spot and maintain it for the first lap around. Jarl Tien, the number 4 machine, he's beginning to pull away from Nicholas Shelton and Casey Kerwin. That battle has calmed down here in the past few corners. But meanwhile, Brad Davies maintaining in the 7th position. He's down from 6th. And PJ Sturgis continues to march through the field. He started 14th up to 10th in just 1 lap. And Austin, I think he made all that time up in the first few corners.
Oh yeah, 4 positions in 1 lap at a road course just means that you don't have to really work that much harder later. And depending on how much he abused his tires, or maybe he just effectively got those positions, is really going to matter in the long run. I don't know if his bid for the going on into the peak antifreeze series is going to be able to come. I know he's had a few bad weeks, but he also will have a drop week. We saw him have 2 bad weeks earlier on in the season. So he'll be one to continue to watch. We are really looking forward to seeing if he was going to be able to come back. And I don't know if it's going to happen this year, but it's definitely good strides for how his off season and has been since he had that charge with Fowles. He's going to go on the inside of the 10 right here. He's going to go into the hairpin, and he's going to have the position pretty well. And then the 11 of Keegan Lahey up front, he's going for position, and he's gonna almost wreck. Oh wow! On the outside on the number 1 of Garrett Lowe, and did not work out.
Getting back to the gas just past the hairpin, the number 11 machine just got a little bit loose. That'll happen here. 800 horsepower race cars don't exactly want to go right and left with the amount of stagger that they have in these things, because they are absolutely out of control this whole lap. And if you wonder how long these guys have worked on these setups, I think they put just about as much effort or more into these road course setups as they do on the oval side. Back behind these guys, still single file. Looks like it's starting to check up just behind Nicholas Shelton, or just at Nicholas Shelton in the number 2 machine. He's caught up to Jarl Tien on the number 7 machine. Looks like the 2 of Nicholas, he's actually got a little bit of right side damage here, Austin. So he's already been in contact with a few guys. That's to be expected in the first few laps of a road course, but hopefully that's the last that we see of some damage.
There's going to be something that happens along this race that'll definitely be someone into the wall, someone into another driver, or someone into the tire barrier. It's almost inevitable at a track like this, and where I think for us, this is a really jam-packed group here between second on back, really. I think you'd have to go to Sturgis to find someone who's kind of in their own clean air at first, because Brad Davies is behind the number 3 of Kerwin, and then Shelton's right behind this small mess. I mean, these guys are pretty close together. I mean, they look far away until you get into a corner. If someone just doesn't brake correctly, just misses their braking point, man, that could be a big mess that we see for the driver hitting in, for the driver who's the hammer, and for the driver who's the nail, because that's going to be a messed up front end.
Oh, we got a battle for 11th here, Austin. Or excuse me, battle for 2nd as the number 11 machine. He got a good run coming off the top of the hill, but he couldn't capitalize on it. I thought he was going to make the move. He's going to wait until turn 4B. He's going to shove it to the inside. They're going to be side by side through the S's. Can he get the drive off? Doesn't look like it. Is he going to force the nose in there? No, he's going to let the number 1 machine of Garrett Lowe in, but they're going to be close. He's going to get a little bit squirrely, hopping over the curbs. Who needs tires when you've got Keegan Lahey?
He got really close, and then he's got a lot of drivers behind him too who are very hungry as well, and it was a good move by number 7 to get there. And then you've got looks like Casey Kerwin's getting pretty close to the back bumper of the 2. These guys are slinking up here in turn 10 right here. Like I said earlier, I mean, there's one driver that is holding him up, but then that driver seems to pull away, and I thought that was the 2 of Shelton, and he appears to be the 3 of Kerwin. I just think it's how these drivers are getting into the corner is kind of backing them up, and then they get spread out. So these tires are going to get weaker. These drivers are going to get a little bit more aggressive on the braking as it gets older. And looks like the 3 of Kerwin tried the outside. I don't know if that would have worked even if he did put the bumper out there, but this battle for 5th place, just inside a top 5 position, is getting pretty close, and these guys are really high up in the point standings. I think we talked about that earlier, how I think for them to battle really hard for position would kind of be silly, but I think they still have a lot of race in them, and they still are definitely trying to get every position they can. Just, you know, I think getting at the top of that point standings is going to be a little bit bragging rights too, kind of like Ryan Luza had last year.
We also have to remember here, Austin, that these guys, It's an actual racing series that they're trying to get into, the Peak Antifreeze series, and there is sponsorship dollars up for grabs. This is basically like running a preseason or running in the NASCAR Xfinity series. You want to impress and you want to let companies who are willing to sponsor these simulated automobiles, want to let them know that you can't drive. And it looks like we got some cones everywhere as Garrett Lowe and the number 11 machine, they're side by side, battle for second. He gets a little bit squirrely in the carousel in the hairpin. And as I come here on to lap number 6, thought he was going to be able to take advantage of it, but it looks like the drive off for the number 1 machine is just too good for the number 11 machine.
You know, I see some rear end damage on the 1 of Garrett Lowe right there, which is kind of interesting. I don't know if I see I can't tell with my camera right now, and he's wanting to get around him badly right now. And if there's damage on the back end of the 1, I'm sure there's some front end damage on the 11, just knowing how that kind of racecraft works itself out. And you can definitely see the 11 has a lot of speed. He's right there in the back bumper, and all the while, Alex Bergeron is 3.8 seconds ahead, and here he goes again. Same time he did last, or same move he did last time. He gets to the inside, has a good move here, but he's on the outside of this next corner. He's going to go anyways. Here he goes, side by side through the S's. This doesn't typically work out, and so he's going to have to lose out right there, and you can definitely tell he's getting very impatient with Garrett right here.
Well, Keegan's being impatient, but he's also being patient at the same time. I know that sounds weird, but he's being very aggressive on the gas and on the brake, making these moves, but he's keeping the car tucked up next to the apex as he goes down into the hairpin one more time, turn 11. Can he get the drive off?
He moves him out.
He's going to move him out of the way. He's going to cut him off, and P2 is going to go to Keegan Lahey.
You saw that coming. He made his exit of the corner a lot wider than he normally did, so the 1 of Garrett Lowe wouldn't be there. Now we'll see if Garrett has any counterattack here in the next corner. Doesn't look like it's going to happen quite yet, although he looks to the inside. Looks like Lowe is fast, but he's not going to be able to quite get him there, and so we'll see if Lowe is slower than the drivers behind him as well, but it looks like he's not giving up. He took a little bit of a ramp right there in that last corner, so this is a really fun battle to watch here between these guys, and it doesn't appear that Lowe is that much slower. Just maybe the 11 was seeing where he was making mistakes and then started making moves off that. Now one can watch the 11, but all the while 5.2 seconds between the Alex Bergeron and the rest of the field. Getting that pole position was so important, Gabe, that if there was any battle behind him, he could just fly away. I mean, we're on lap 7 of 55 already, and he's already got a 5-second lead.
He's not the only driver on track doing some work. We talked about PJ Sturgis in the number 5 machine. He started 14th, now he's up to 7th in that NX Racing number 5 machine. But back in the pack, we talked about your last place starter, the number 42 machine of Randall Fox, Austin, in the number 42 Hero Engine Toyota. He has moved up from the last position up to 36th on a road course, which is really unheard of, you know, for a driver who looked like he didn't really have the speed.
He had a 1 minute 19 second lap, I think, something around there, and he's able to get around a lot of cars. You know, you said PJ Sturgis, he's up 7 positions. I mean, there's a lot of drivers that are moving forward and a lot of drivers that are moving back, and we don't really see that much moving around in the top 10 except for Sturgis. He's the only driver that's really cracked into that top 10 group that's made a big push, and he's still up there. I mean, you can see his number 5 machine is still right around the corner. He's just making a move for position on the number 3 right here on the inside of turn 4, and he gets up on that curbing, and he likes that. We've seen him do that a couple times already. He's definitely someone who is really enjoyable to watch, and he definitely has the speed. And you know, I'm really wondering if he's going to be able to have the tires, but he's throwing everything at it, and I think it's really fun to watch him do that. Also want to note that the number 1 of Garrett Lowe lost a position to Jarl Tien at turn number 10 last time by, and now Nicholas Shelton's behind him. He's looking to the inside right here, but right now he's not going to. And that cone went faster than the drivers did into the corner. That was pretty impressive. I don't know if you saw that at the corner, but look at the battles behind him. Look at the 5 getting around the 3 right there, the hairpin, and then you've got the 15. Or sorry, that's the 19 and the 18 of Brad Davies and Colton Davis. They're still going for position. That was a very close maneuver by Colton Davis. Almost clipped the 19 right there.
Yeah, I believe it was the number 5 machine of PJ Sturgis who actually hit that cone in the hairpin. So he may want to try out for the University of Alabama.
I'm taking a swig there. Yeah, he might have to.
Shots fired to the University of Alabama as they did win the national championship last night. But Alex Bergeron, he's actually being caught here, Austin. You know, we talked about that gap being 5.5 seconds, is now down to 5 flat. Be interesting to see what it's going to be this time by. But Alex Bergeron was slower than Keegan Lahey last time. I think it's the fact that Keegan now has the Scandinavian filling up that rearview mirror.
Yeah, like you said, that was a really good thing to point out, was the fact that Keegan Lahey does have a very fast car. He's got a long ways to go, but you know, 5 seconds is a manageable time to go. You'll have 46 laps to go when he crosses start-finish line. Even a couple tenths per lap, if he's that much faster than Alex Bergeron, will be mildly impressive to get, but I don't think it's completely out of the question. I think we'll have a pit stop here at some point. Also want to watch the number 2 of Nicholas Shelton back in the pack. He just got, or he's getting caught and passed by PJ Sturgis. So Sturgis is on a freaking roll right now. He is just taking names and passing drivers all over the place. He's cracked the top 5. He's up 9 positions from the start of this race. Only a few other drivers have been able to do that. I'm looking through the field and seeing just not even a handful of drivers just make that many positions up. You said driver started 42nd. That would be Randall Fox. He's up a lot of positions, but no one has done what PJ Sturgis has done in this race and go up 9 positions so far.
I'm telling on guys who have moved up, because I want to keep track of this, because you know it's very tough to pass on a road course, especially if you're having to work your way up against a field that everybody qualified. You know, it's not like your regular iRacing server to where some of the faster guys are stuck in the back. You know, you've got guys that have picked up 6 positions, like Jacob Harbert's in a number 9 machine. He's up from 24th now to 18th in that I Can't Design number 9 machine. Looks like 26th to 23rd, Blade Witt. And Liam Brotherton in the number 35 machine, he's up a few spots, as well as Brandon McKissick. So a couple of these guys picking up some spots here, Austin. Not enough to be any sort of factor in the race, but still, takes some skill to pass on a road course, especially considering a few of them had to check up on that initial start.
Yeah, that's something that we always talk about, is that the leader gets to go when he feels like it, and he went straight out of the hairpin knowing that he'd get a good gap. And some drivers, it would take them multiple seconds just to get through that hairpin because they have to wait for the driver in front of them to go. You get a black flag if you pass on either side or on the opposite side here at a road course, so it's best just to stay in the line. And I mean, there's drivers who are multiple seconds behind, and even Logan Sheets, he's a minute behind. You're not going to make that up in the amount of time, and it's a shame. A lot of the drivers know that qualifying back in the pack is pretty bad, but when you go towards the front and you qualify there, that's always really good. Oh, looks like the number 2, Nicholas Shelton, just missed his braking point, and the 3 is all over him here coming to the S's.
Casey Kerwin to the back bumper in the S's, down the bottom of the hill, snaking their way through wine country here at Sonoma Raceway. The 2 machine of Nicholas Shelton, he lost it there, but he's able to get the run down the hill, and look at the run he was able to get into the second to last corner. He's able to pull away. Now does the 3. He takes a little bit of a defensive line against the 19 of Brad Davies. He's going to shove Davies a little bit wide, but they're going to keep it pretty tight. The 19 gets a little bit loose coming off the hairpin, but they're going to keep it going here. Meanwhile, Keegan Lahey has cut that gap by a full second in the past 3 laps here. We may have a battle for the lead.
And he's bringing everyone with him. I mean, when you start looking through the field, Jarl Tyen, he's not too far away from Keegan. When they do battle, if they do battle, he'll be there. Then you've got Garrett Lowe, who is actually being challenged for position by PJ Sturgis here, and I'd say that battle will probably be quickly coming and quickly being over, just with the speed that Sturgis has, and the fact that Garrett Lowe had a fast car in the beginning of this, and it looks like he is starting to falter just a little bit now. And I'd say that, yeah, open the floodgates for Keegan Lahey. He is a fast car right now. He is one of the fastest in practice. These guys were really tight in practice. I mean, they were very, very close times, and they didn't have very many laps to do it, but there is going to be a lot of drivers that are able to really make these long runs stick. I think Alex Bergeron, Garrett Lowe, those are 2 drivers are going to be really looking for tires earlier on.
I'm not sure what your fuel run is here. As PJ Sturgis, he's going for a move on Garrett Lowe. That's for the 4th position in the hairpin. That is where PJ has made the most of his passes.
He's going to turn him!
Hooked. He's going to get hooked. I think he actually cut across his front bumper. The 1 machine did not move. I think PJ anticipated to have more of a run than he thought he got.
Oh man, that's just the symbol of how the number 5 season has kind of gone. And yeah, I think you're right. I think he moved up the track, and I think Garrett could have given him more room, but
He had no choice.
Garrett, I mean, he had a full car length. He was outside, but maybe he thought he was clear as well. I don't think that was any means intentional at all. But that's a big mess, and they'll be having a fun conversation at the race. I think PJ's just going to have to look at it, and at multiple angles, we'll do the same. But the race goes on, and at a road course, you're not going to get a caution to come back out to the field. So once again, PJ Sturgis has a good race. Kind of just go out.
A top 5 and maybe a win in the books, you know, with more than halfway in this race still to go, and it just goes up in all of around 5 seconds for the number 5 machine. Unfortunate for him. So that'll make your biggest mover looking through the field here. That may actually move the biggest mover up to Jacob Harper's, the number 9 machine, up from 24th to 17th. So that's a gain of 7 positions. That's almost equaling PJ's previous, I think it was 9 that he had picked up.
Yeah, it was about to be 10 right there if it wasn't already. But yeah, Jacob Harper is doing a really good job of picking his way through the field, and he's got a long way to the next driver. You know, he's going press the start-finish line. These guys are already up the hill and are ready to keep going. So he'll have a lot of room to make up time, and that's what a lot of these drivers will need to do is, you know, make up time when they got the clean air and really make those moves quick. If they can make their passes quick, that'll be just that much better for them. And you saw with Garrett Lowe and Keegan Lahey. Lahey was really patient, like you said, but he's still aggressive, trying to get around him in the time that he wanted. Once he did, it was just all open there for him. So guys will keep going on lap 14. Alex Bergeron has a 4.4 second lead over Keegan Lahey. It has kind of stabilized for now, as they are going. Alex Bergeron's going to come up to lap 15 here. And yeah, he's got about 4 seconds above anybody else. I think we got a car coming down pit road, but I think that's going to be Logan Sheets calling it quits.
It looks like he's actually taking tires, so he may or may not go back onto the racetrack, but Logan Sheets in the number 41st position. He was running dead last in 42nd, but of course with the number 5 machine coming out. Yeah, actually this will be the start of green flag pit stops, actually, so Logan Sheets actually coming back onto the racetrack.
I think it might be a bit early, but yeah, he's coming in for service, and I think if you're in the position he's in, you might as well come in and see if you can find a space where you can just run by yourself and be one of the fastest drivers out there with new tires.
Looking back through your field, Keegan Lahey, yeah, it's starting to stabilize here, Austin. It came down from 5.5. Now it's just kind of hovering around 4.4 seconds here, closing in. It looks like we got a battle between the 3 and the 18 of Colton Davis here, as Casey Kerwin trying to hold off here on lap number 15, that top 5 position, as Garrett Lowe continues to, he's actually getting a little bit smaller in his front windshield. So Casey's got a little bit of work to do, not only in front of him, but behind, because Colton Davis, he's starting to close in.
Yeah, he's starting to get close to him. Another battle to watch is Blade Witt in this big pack that he is pioneering. You've got, looks like Nicholas Morris, that's the first driver or that's Stephen Wilson, driver amongst these. And you got Nicholas Morris, Braden Boulos, Blade Witt, Liam Brotherton. This is a big group inside and outside the top 20. And I think that's the number 15. He's got a good bit of front end damage. So like you said, it's not something you want to see, but it's something you've got to deal with. His whole left front fender is just, you can see the whole tire. And look at the forward dive bomb it here into the corner. He lets up early, but he's going for it. And yeah, he almost gets it, but he had some wheel spin. And here comes the 16 on the inside. He's going to try and make a bid for it at the start-finish line, but he might lose out. He's still got the bumper. Oh, look at the 4. Kind of cut him off just a tiny bit, but they're still going to go side by side in this corner up the hill.
What a power move with the gas, trying to work his way around the outside. That's Blade Witt in the number 16 machine, but I don't think it's going to work out for him, as looks like that number 35 machine of Liam Brotherton, he's now going to move up into this battle. But Nicholas Morris and Braden Boulos, they almost got together there. So these guys doing one heck of a job hanging on to these cars. It looks like the 16's got a little bit of a run, but he's not going to risk He had to get to the brake a little bit harder than he wanted to, and he's going to lose a little bit of time here. Now he's going to dive it in. Whoa, I don't think that was planned, but it might pay off for him anyway.
Yeah, the floor actually kind of let him go, but he has so much rear wheel spin, if I could say it properly. He had so much wheel spin that he was not able to carry that momentum in the next corner. It's only slowing all of them down. I mean, the drivers we were talking about earlier, Morse and Wilson, they're kind of checking out from this group, and they're letting everyone behind them come into the picture, like David Brown and Brandon McKissick. Glenn Rockefeller's kind of behind these guys too, and you start to look even further around. I mean, you're going to start looking at drivers like Jake Nichols and Pack. You know, there's going to be that driver that's just a little bit slower, and you're going to bring a lot of drivers into the picture. You've got Benjamin Nelson in front of Jake Nichols, but you've got a long list of drivers behind him as well that are really close together.
David Rattler and Jake Nichols. David Rattler missed the Peak Antifreeze Series last year, along with a lot of other drivers, and he's looking to get redemption this year. And he's having a good run trying to get up inside the top 10. As the number 10 machine is getting a little bit loose on the exit of the corners as the 25 closes in, and he's bringing a train of cars with him. Looking back up front, looking back, it looks like actually Casey Kerwin's maintained that gap in the 3 machine between he, Colton Davis, and Brad Davies. He's kind of stabilized as he runs a little bit wide there in turn number, I believe it's 9, I guess? Turn 9?
Yeah, it's
turn
the end of the S's, yeah.
Well, considering if...
Looking at the lead between Alex Bergeron and Keegan Lahey, it's come down quite a bit. We just got the note there from Cisco saying that the number 11 of Keegan Lahey is coming. I don't know whether it was a mistake between Bergeron or not, but that lead went from a couple 3 or 4 seconds down to 2.4. So I'm not sure what happened with Bergeron, but I bet a mistake happened, because you don't lose 1.5 seconds in a lap just like that.
It was 3.9, I think, when they came by the start-finish line last time by, and now a full second faster is Keegan Lahey, and he's still coming there at 2.4 seconds the gap as they come down the carousel, through the S's. It's noticeably smaller than it was last time they came by. We may have a battle for the lead in about the next 3 laps.
Yeah, I'm looking at Alex Bergeron's lap chart right here, and that was his slowest lap by over 1.5 seconds. So definitely a mistake. I don't know exactly where, but the safe thing for him is that he still has the lead. I think the bad thing for him is that whatever is going on, whatever happened that last time and a couple laps before, I'd say he's used up his car just a little bit, and he's going to have Keegan Lahey hot on his trail. I mean, he's absolutely coming with some blazing speed right now, and actually Bergeron did pick up the pace just a little bit, got some of that back that he had just previously lost, but definitely something big happened with him. And you're starting to look at Jarl Tyen. He's still not that far back, but then there's a long ways back to Garrett Lowe and company. You've got Casey Kerwin, Davis, and Brad Davies. They're kind of in that group again.
Looks like we actually got one car out of the race. He got loose in the carousel, and it looks like we got one car, apparently somebody got turned. I'm hearing from it. So we got a great battle between Michael Garuglia and who is that? Joshua Campbell in the 39th position. Those guys, they're it was actually a lap car that just came off a pit road, but the 25 machine, that was a great battle to get around him, as Jake Nichols and the 25 machine to David Rattler both made it around.
Yeah, lap cars are going to be a part of this, because we're going to have drivers at the end that will need to come down for fuel and tires, and depending on when they come in, they will be merging with these drivers on or in the top 10. You can't really necessarily call them late lap drivers, because they're going to have to come down too. So the drivers who have not pit versus the drivers who have pit, I mean, we're getting closer and closer to halfway through this thing. I mean, lap 20 will be halfway to lap 40. Remember, they'll have 55 laps to get through, so it is definitely getting a little bit more intense for some of these drivers that'll need to not only pass their competitors for position, but to pass them for just track space, just to get around them. And some of these drivers are faster even on their older tires than some of the guys towards the back, and they're going to have to figure out a way to really discipline themselves and getting around them. They've done this before. They've trained. Gabe, this. These guys are almost always on the sim if they're up in this top group, and they just need to really execute and not make any moves that are kind of risky because a lot of these guys are pretty locked in to the Peak Series. They just need to make sure that they just get the positions they need to.
Then you have a couple other guys who were just on the fringe, and this could be a make or break event for them. Looking back through the points here, if I can get it pulled up here, but there's, you know, you get down. I mean, you can't even take a rest if you're on the if you're, you know, inside the top 10. If you're locked in, you know, on pretty close to making it. We go to Daytona, you get taken out, and 40 guys finish in front of you. There's a good possibility you're not going to race for the 2018 Peak Antifreeze Series Championship.
Definitely something good to remind yourself about when you get into it. Looks like Brad Davies is starting to have a hard handle on his machine. He just really pushed hard through the final turn right there. He's trying to figure something out. He's got a little bit of left front damage like a lot of other drivers do. So, and looking throughout the field, I think these drivers want tires pretty soon. They're getting close to halfway here. And you know, when these guys start sliding through the corners, and you can just see that left or that right front kind of moving a little bit, but you know it's getting rubbed just the wrong way, and it's really heating up the tires that they're really wanting to come in soon, because we're going to see a lot more sliding through the turns here in the longer stages of this run. As just throughout the field, I mean, we've got 3 drivers in the top 3. They're kind of just gone. And you got Garrett Lowe and company, and just watching these drivers get through the corners, a lot more fun the longer these guys go on their tire runs.
Yeah, it's interesting to see how they adapt to how the car runs, because it's almost like running on a dirt track, you know, here on iRacing. As soon as the track starts to slick up, you either change your driving style or you fall to the back, and it looks like your top 3 have really figured it out, as Keegan has absolutely demolished the lead of the 33 of Alex Bergeron, because he's about 10 to 15 car lengths now behind your leader.
Good observation to have, because he went from 2.4 seconds to 2.1, so he's kind of devastated that lead that he once had. I think it was 5.7 seconds once he got around Garrett Lowe, and then he just kind of put it on the charge. And now Keegan Lahey can't really make any mistakes either, because he's made a couple since then, and it's kind of hard not to when you don't really have very good tires on your machine. And so watching that number 11 yellow machine kind of dice his way through the corners, really I think what you're looking for as a driver is just to be consistent. And we've seen Alex Bergeron have one big inconsistency that cost him a lot of time, and he's definitely not looking for that to happen again. And watching these guys go over the curbing, I'm really surprised they're able to have so much control. And you know, there's definitely a reason why we're not the Pro Series here, Gabe. Is they have so much control over the S's. I mean, they're so fast and they know exactly what to do, but their setups are also really good. You know, you got to compliment the teams as well when you go through and watch these guys do this, because a lot of these guys cannot do it alone, and a lot of these guys don't do it alone. So watching both of these drivers get through the final turn, looks like Keegan Lahey did kind of go through the turn a little bit hotter than Alex. That might lose him some time right there, but these are definitely the two I'm going to keep watching. I'll definitely keep my eye throughout the field, but basically their lap sides were identical that last time, so whenever they come to do pit stops, I think that'll be the most challenging and most interesting that'll happen in the race so far.
Keegan doing his best super impressive WRX impression there through the hairpin, as that was just announced to be confirmed coming to iRacing. So looking forward to that, along with a couple other rallycross tracks, along with, we heard it earlier this week, the Chili Bowl, Austin. So a lot of good things happening here on iRacing. Not just the Peak Antifreeze Series, not just the Pro Series, but on the dirt side as well. A lot of good things coming in 2018 for the dirt side of iRacing. Yeah, Keegan, even with him sliding the tires like that, especially through the hairpin, he ran the same lap time as Alex Bergeron. So I'm not so sure Keegan Lahey's, okay, if you're in this position, we're near halfway, and the tires have fallen off about 2 seconds. Do you pit now? Or, whenever you're ready? Whenever the fuel window opens, and as I said,
there you go. There you go. There you go.
Right there.
And your question has been answered. Look how fast he flies through there. He's got to get down to around 45 miles an hour. He's absolutely flying through that pit road. So he's one of our first drivers to actually come down. I was about to say this, and he kind of he'll definitely lead me to there, is why not come in earlier and be able and then defend first place if you get it. So I think that this is a really good move. I think it's one that if I was in his position, I'd want to do. So he gets in his pit stall nice and cleanly. We talked about last Saturday in one of our leagues that getting into your pit box is so important. And so he gets into his box nice. The 3 is also in. That's going to be the number 3 of Casey Kerwin. So he's on the similar strategy. Anyone else coming in? It doesn't look like it. Just those 2 drivers that we noticed that are in that top group. And the number 11's already off. He's going up the hill.
Yep, and while we wait for guys like Alex Bergeron, Jarl Tien, and Garrett Lowe to come down pit road, you know, Austin, where was I going with this? Anyway, let's go back to the racing action. I'll think about it here in the next few. I don't know. I had an idea of what I wanted to talk about, and then I don't know what happened. Oh, I know what I was going to say. You know, you talked about a team effort as Alex not coming in this time by, but you talk about a team effort. You see one guy. Let's take, you know, Garrett Lowe or Alex Bergeron for the drill spill. You know, 2 guys are racing in this series, but there's guys, you know, there's about 14, 15 guys on that team. And when these guys are trying to race into the Peak Antifreeze series, they're testing all the time, trying to get the setups right for them to be able to race for the Peak Antifreeze series championship. And it happens a week, 2 weeks in advance. And these guys are constantly evolving. You can't, you know, it's just like real racing. You can't just be content. Because if you're content, the guys behind you are going to pass you.
And they have two crew chiefs in the session right now, and that's just this is a couple guys who are part of the team that are currently in the sim, and I'm sure the rest of the guys who work on it are watching it on this side of the broadcast. And this doesn't just go for the drill spill; this goes for every team out there. I mean, Fowler worked with these guys. You know, we've got I think. Brandon Wilkinson, I know he works with a couple of guys. You guys think about Logan Clamp. Yeah, Logan Clampett's in here helping guys. I mean, the guys that you see in Impasse, they want other guys to come and race with them in Impasse because they want them to work together. And I think that's actually really cool to see that they do take an off season kind of. I think I read Ray Afala said he hadn't been on the sim in a couple months, but. I think it's really cool to see them work with other drivers and really help them out, and it makes the competition that much better.
Speaking of guys like Bergeron, your leader is down pit road. So the number 33 machine, he's going to start the rest of your drivers coming to pit road. Jarl Tien out on the racetrack, so he's going to assume the lead as he slid through turn number 1, the little kink there going up the hill. A little bit of a 4-wheel drift for the number 7 machine. Colton Davis, he's also going to follow closely behind. That's going to be a battle for your second spot now as Garrett Lowe and Colton Davis battling the 18 and the number 1 machine as they head up the hill. Now, where is Keegan Lahey in relation to Alex Bergeron whenever they come off of pit road? Keegan already heading up the hill. Keegan has taken the lead, basically, whenever they cycle back around.
Hey, I mean, Jarl Tien can just go the whole way and not pit, I guess, but he'll have to come down eventually. But yeah, he's got 9 drivers in front of him. I would assume have not pit. So you got Tien, Garrett Lowe, Colton Davis, Bergeron. Well, that's actually the way they're scoring on our side. So I'll probably just wait quite some time actually for this to settle out because it'll be a while. So like we talked about, it's going to be halfway in just a couple laps. And just like it always happens, you know, anytime we try and do a midway race break, they're in the middle of pit sequence. But that's all the more fun for us to continue to keep a watch on everything that's going on. So Tien's still not coming down pit road. So he's going to... he's not obliging just quite yet, and it looks like Colton Davis, he will do so, and then looks like that's it for the time being. Here comes Jake Nichols hot into the pit road, and I saw guys practicing pit road entry earlier on cold, fresh tires. Definitely when it comes to older tires, it's not as easy, but these guys definitely experienced and ready to go when it comes down to come down pit road.
I think I saw a couple of guys down in the turn 4A and B area doing about 30 donuts to warm up their tires. So I think they were kind of trying to simulate it.
I did not notice that, so
that's a joke, Austin.
That would help a bunch.
It's a joke, Austin, but it actually would help. So you know, y'all team is still in the lead. Garrett Lowe still second. Brad Davies moves up into the 3rd spot. Nicholas Shelton, Colton Davis, he now comes off of pit road. David Rattler in the number 25 machine, he is yet to pit, but he's now been caught and passed for the 6th position by Keegan Lahey. So Keegan started second, now more than likely going to assume the lead. unless anything drastic happens.
This is where I think we're gonna see a lot more drivers come in, because this is basically the halfway point right here on lot 27. Because you do the math, 28 plus 28 gets you more than 55. So
yeah, is that an approximate sum?
I'm just not even going to do math because I'm going to make a fool of myself. So yes, it is definitely an approximate amount. Nicholas Shelton comes down pit road. Brad Davies comes down pit road. Garrett Lowe makes a trip. He'll have to see if he has any damage on the front end from what happened between him and the 5. It looks like he does just have a tiny bit. It looks like the hood's moved up just a little bit. And he's got some rear end damage from when the 11 was giving him a couple messages. But even talking about the 11, he just went by all those guys who just got into their stall. And that puts a lot of these guys behind. And so then you're also going to see the number 17 of Brandon Pipgrass. He's coming out through the field.
Yeah, those guys, I just saw them. They have done a lot of passing and a lot of racing because they're just gotten around, looks like Jake Nichols. Or excuse me, they were working their way around the driver who had yet to come down pit road. But Jake Nichols in the number 10 machine, I don't believe he's been to pit road yet, but in front of them, Nichols, 12.
Oh, 17 in the outside wall. He's going to go. Oh, he's going to save it right at the start finish line.
Yeah, I was trying to find
17. Got into it right there, Gabe. They hit each other, and I don't know how the heck the 17 of Brandon Pipgrass did not wreck the car, but that's not going to be good for him. But he's still going to have a car to race the rest of the race here.
Yeah, I think during the next pit stop, they're going to have to drill a hole inside that visor to let some of the steam out, because that 17 of Brandon Pipgrass not going to be happy about what just happened out there on the racetrack. Keegan Leahy moves now up to third as guys cycle through their pits, as Jarl Tien still continues to lead.
I've seen a replay of exactly what happened between those two drivers. I'm guessing one driver thought he was clear, and I think that was a 17 of Pipgrass just didn't think he was clear, and actually the 17 gets another hit from the 9. I'm unsure. I know we're on the replay, but him and the 9 of Jacob Harberts got into it right there. So the 20 and him get together, and then the number 9 and him get together. So the 17 is definitely gonna, I think, just like you said, you're gonna need a hole drilled in the helmet so you can let the steam out. Sure, that at a race like this, there's no cautions to really have your muscles, your mind, anything relaxed. You just got to keep going. So gonna go through the field here in just a second, but the 11 of Keegan Leahy has finally reclaimed the lead, and it's a 5.7 second lead between himself and Alex Bergeron. That's about the same lead he had earlier, except he was the driver on the hunt.
So Bergeron now back to second. David Rattler still in third. He's running around about a 1 minute 22 lap time, so he is yet to come down pit road. Casey Kerwin, Jarl Tien now coming off of pit road. He's working his way down the hill, so Casey Kerwin is going to move up into the third spot. And Colton Davis is going to move down the order all the way back to fifth. I believe he was running third before the pit stops.
So once these drivers start to cycle through, David Rattler is still making himself really presented here in the third position. I don't know how early he pitted, but nonetheless, he's still doing a good job. And if he didn't pit, well, it's going to be a pretty big fall. But we'll take this time to go through your Midway Race Break presented by iRacing, your leading online simulation. Developed from the beginning as a centralized racing and competition service, iRacing organizes, hosts, and officiates races on virtual tracks all around the world. In the fast-paced world of esports, iRacing is a one-stop shop for online racing with officially sanctioned racing from Nascar, IndyCar, IMSA, World of Outlaws, GRC, and many, many, many more. So we'll take a look at your full field rundown as they are. Keegan Leahy has a 5.3 second lead now over Alex Bergeron in second. David Rattler is third. Casey Kerwin finds himself in the fourth position. Then Jarl Tien finds himself fifth. Then you've got Colton Davis 6th, Garrett Lowe 7th, Brad Davies is in the 8th position, Nicholas Shelton finds himself 9th, and then John Gorlinski is himself 10th.
11th position right now, the number 22 machine of Michael Garuglia. Benjamin Nelson in 12th, Dallas Patotska, Jake Nichols, and Jacob Harberts round out your top 15. Brandon Pipgrass, who we just saw get into a lot of trouble, he's now recovered, running in 16th. Mikhail Cato in 17th, Mitchell Hunt, Blade Witt, Steven Wilson round out your top 20.
21st is David L. Brown. Then you've got Nicholas Moore, 22nd. Brian Blackford, 23rd. Braden Bulos, 24th. Liam Rotherton, 25th. Willem Cooley, 26th. Brandon McKissick, 27th. Glenn Rockefeller Jr., 28th. Brandon Fawkes, 29th. And then you have Adam Benefield in 30th.
Jean-Baptiste Charles in the number 31st position. Robbie Vrabel Jr. in 32nd. Kyle Putz. Michael Guest, who started 29th, now back to 34th. And your final driver on the lead lap is Zoltan Herdzik in the number 35th position. Now one lap down, Jeremy Davis, Brian Frick, Sahil Mustak, and Joshua Campbell all ride one lap down. That's 36th through 39th. Rounding out your field so far are guys who have not had the night they wanted. They are off track and out of the race. Logan Sheets, Jesse Schwartz, and PJ Sturgis.
And so that's been a look at your iRacing Midway Race Break. For more information on the wide variety of sim racing possibilities online, you can visit iRacing.com to sign up today. Keegan Lahey leads the field as a 5.2 second lead starts to slowly dwindle down to Alex Bergeron. We're going to take a quick moment and we'll be right back here with all the action here at Sonoma, and we'll go green flag for us the rest of the way. You're watching LSRTV, your home for sim racing of the Pro Series. Welcome back to Sonoma here as we cover the NASCAR iRacing Pro Series. This could not be possible without our friends at Joel Real Timing coverage. The Pro Series tonight is brought to you by Joel Real Timing, the official timing software of LSRTV. Whether you spend your time on the sim, behind the wheel, on the pit box, or on the spotter stand, Joel Real Timing is the go-to software for your iRacing timing and scoring analytics. You can get yourself a basic download or get the pro version today at joel-real-timing.com. Keegan Lahey continues to lead over Alex Bergeron with a 5-second lead, almost flat, and it's come down just a little bit here, Gabe, as we've been talking during the commercial break. It's come down just a little bit, but it's not at the rate that it would need to be to catch Keegan at this moment.
You got to remember, when Alex was out on the racetrack last time, he had the lead and then lost it you know, he lost by about three and a half seconds whenever the tires started to go away. 4.8 now, so 2/10 down. Alex Bergeron now has gained on Keegan Lahey. Meanwhile, Jarl Tien has actually moved back up to third, so that number 3 machine, or excuse me, that number 7 machine is absolutely on a rail. He's 12 seconds behind, unfortunately, but he has what is undoubtedly probably second fastest car.
And you see a lot of different cars in the mix with these leaders. Those are the lap cars that we were talking about earlier that are going to be a mix. And Alex Bergeron just had to get around Michael Guest, who is running in the 33rd position now, lap down, and so it's really going to hurt him. And he is also going to have to get around Zoltan Hertzek. And Hertzek and Guest actually swapped positions during this lap, so I'm sure that was something that Bergeron didn't want to have to deal with. But that's something that you have to deal with, whether it is an oval track or one of these road courses. And it's definitely, like you talked about earlier, just not as easy to pass, regardless of who it is, regardless if they're a tenth or 5/10 slower. So he's going to have to try and get around the 37 here. In this corner, he's also got a slow car that's the 24 of Adam Benefield. He has the wise decision of not coming back on the track. Sadly, it's going to cost him a lot of time. Benefield, I don't know exactly what happened to him, but he's got a lot of damage on that car.
Something happened.
Yeah, it looks like he got pushed into by the 12. It just took him out, basically, and that was right in front of your leader, the number 11 of Keegan Lahey. He saw that all happen right in front of him. That could have been really bad for him. And so that actually did take that lead down quite a substantial amount. So it's 4.5 seconds from when we last went by the start-finish line between those two. And there's no one in between them now. That has cleared up all those lap cars. And now the 11 is going to have to navigate through a lot of lap traffic here. And by a lot, I mean about 3 or 4 more cars.
Yeah, looking at the replay, Austin, sorry it took me a minute to actually pull the replay up, but Robbie Vrabel didn't actually look like it was any of his doing. It looked like a little bit of too much rear brake dialed into the 24 machine, and it just started to go around, and I think Robbie was just there to clean up the mess, really.
He did that, shot him at the track, and then made a huge roadblock, but no one else hit him, which was, this shows you what these guys are really capable of and the awareness that they have. And watching Keegan go through this field, you're watching a lot of drivers try and let some guys by, and knowing that they are still going for position, but they know what's at stake with all these other guys trying to make it into the NASCAR Peak Antifreeze Series, knowing that they could potentially mess up a big night for Keegan Lahey, Alex Bergeron, Jarl Tien, Casey Kerwin, anybody else who's out there. That it's not what you want to do if you're a lap down car, but you also want to keep going at it for position, because I mean they're still going at it for 29th, 28th position, because like you said, even though these races may not matter for them because they're so far back in points, it's still something that they want to do. They still want to run with the big guys and continue to improve.
Keegan Lahey working around some lap traffic. Now the gap 2.822 seconds between he and Alex Bergeron. Jarl Tien has actually cut it down by 4 seconds. Jarl Tien may be playing spoiler here, Austin, because that number 7 machine, he has caught them by 4 seconds in the past 2 laps.
Even with the lap traffic, that is darn impressive. And that's a pretty bold amount of time that has been spent between these guys fighting for position and the time that he's caught them. We'll just have to keep track of that as it keeps getting probably lower and lower, which is definitely I think. I don't know. That's a lot of time there, Gabe. I mean, you pointed it out, and I was like, I didn't really register it at first, but that's crazy. That's a crazy amount of time. And so what Keegan's going to have to do, what Alex is going to have to do, is they're going to have to really run some blistering laps when they're not in traffic. And Alex just took another nice chunk away from Keegan Lahey. This might be Alex's race as well, but as soon as I say that, Alex or Jarl Tien takes a more impressive chunk away from both these guys.
7.5 seconds now the gap as Keegan Lahey continues to work through tougher and tougher lap traffic. He's now lapped up to the 28th position of Robbie Vrabel Jr., who we just saw in that accident a couple laps ago. He's now caught to the back bumper of him as they go into turn number 4B. Now they go back down the hill into the carousel. Or I keep calling it the carousel. I must be thinking we're at Watkins Glen, down into the S's.
Yeah, and it looks like Keegan just made a small mistake in the S's, but he'll be able to really keep it going back again. And you can see that his car is just a little bit mishandling. And you can definitely see a long line, a long black line, and sometimes it gets larger in some areas. But that it just shows you, if we went from lap 1 till now, you can definitely see that the track has definitely gotten rubbered up. And these cars are going to just be getting that much more mishandling. And look at the number 11 or the 33 of Bergeron. He's getting around these lap cars in a jiffy. And he's with the 4 right there, who just had just a little bit of a shift issue right there, and that actually let Bergeron get away from him right there. And so he's going to hit the start-finish line, and he's going to lose some time, but he's also going to lose these drivers behind him, and he'll be able to really focus forward on the 12 of Robbie Vrabel. And your all-team takes another chomp out as well. And as we're focusing on these guys, we can't forget about anyone else that's right here. You know, talking about Casey Kerwin, he's in 4th, and he's got himself a nice little groove that he's been put himself into. And you've got Colton Davis, who's shortly behind him. And then you do have a few lap cars, but Garrett Lowe still holding on to 6th place. Davies in 7th. Nicholas Shelton, I think he was expecting to be a little higher at this point in the race, but still doing a nice job. And you've got a few other drivers out there throughout the pack. There's a lot of drivers to talk about, but there's only 28 of them are on lead lap right now, and realistically, only about 7 of them that are within a striking distance of a top 5 position.
2.7 seconds now, the gap. So it's starting to stabilize between Keegan Lahey and Alex Bergeron. The lap times are starting to go back down here, Austin. It was 1 minute 20.4 for the number 11 machine and 1 minute 20.6. As the lap traffic is just getting thicker and thicker for the 11 machine, he was able to work his way past the number 12 machine of Robbie Vrabel Jr., but look up in front of him. He's got 7-8 cars all in a line that he's going to have to work his way through. Jean-Baptiste Charles, Brandon McKissick, Liam Brotherton, all guys he's going to have to work his way around.
Looking at Brad Davies getting around Garrett Lowe right there for position. That is going to be for the top 5 position. Or that's for the sixth position, actually, just outside the top 5. And Garrett Lowe continues to just lose a couple positions here and there. Still has himself a good run. I think if he falls at the top 10, that's when you can definitely start to say that definitely wasn't the race he was looking for, but still doing a decent job here. But keeping on looking at the times, I think Keegan has kind of found a stride here, because he's actually kind of pulling away from the guys behind him. Jarl might have actually burned his tires up a little bit. I'd have to say here, Gabor, he's resting those tires a little bit. As we also look at the 3 of Casey Kerwin and company. There's a lot of cars in this area. No, look, it's like the 16 is going to take a little bit of a look. He's going dooning there for a little bit as he's letting these guys go by. Kind of hinders the number 37, but I think it was worth it to him. They did mess with these guys in front of him, as they're going to try and continue to battle. Looks like the 18 is on strike right now.
Up in front of these guys, a couple of lap cars battling side by side. It's the 29 of Kyle Putz and Braden Boulos and the 4 machine. They've been side by side since the hairpin as they go into the first corner. Very loose for the 4 machine. Just some ill-handling race cars for the 4. The 29 looks pretty planted as the 7 of Jarl Tien tries to force his way in there. He does. He's going to be able to complete the pass on the 4. Now he's just got to worry about the 29.
He needs to get around these lap cars fast, because he is one of the fastest cars out there, but these lap cars are hindering, as they have hindered the rest of the drivers or the other 2 guys in front of him as well. He gets really close to the 29 here. Almost he gets so close to him, it's almost look like he could wreck him at any moment. But this is how on the edge he is on getting as much speed as he can, and you can see how nicely he's getting through this corner. Definitely makes it so that his wheels don't slide. He's trying to get it through smoothly. Now I don't think he's got another driver until he gets to Robbie Vrabel, who's it looks like Alex Bergeron just got around. So a lot of heavy traffic for these drivers right now. They've got to get through a lot of this empty traffic that is around the 26th position. They need to get around it quickly, and there's a big jumbled mess in front of the 11 right now.
He's got to work past guys like Will Cooley now, Brian Blackford. He's gotten past Jean-Baptiste Charles pretty easily enough. Let's see what the gap is this time by between he and Alex Bergeron. 2.7 now, so it's down a 10th. And he's not going to be able to run the line that he wants to here, Coop, for the next lap or so. It looks like these lap cars are getting ready to battle side by side. Very ill-handling race cars. Nowhere to go for the 11. He's going to ride the back bumper of the 32 as they go up the hill.
Yeah, he's getting pretty impatient because he knows the more time he spends behind these guys, the more time he could be catching them, because the 33 is actually having no one to battle right now. And you can see the 11 dive it down to the inside for turn 4B, and he's going to get that right there and cleanly at that, and 32 lets him go by. But you can just see the difference. I'd say it's about 14, maybe 15 car lengths to himself and Alex Bergeron, and whenever he gets to them, is going to be the difference, because if he gets by them quickly, that's just going to be that much more time. He's got fresher tires. This one's probably going to come down to the wire. I mean, I think Alex is actually getting through this traffic fairly nicely, and Keegan is not in that regard. It looks like he might get a little present here from the 38, and so he'll get that position quite easily, actually. So he can overdrive it, though, which he did just a little bit, and Alex Bergeron is also going to get a little help from the 28. He lets him by, and I think this lead is going to be getting much smaller here.
2.7 seconds the gap last time by. What's it gonna be? 1.7, a full second. Cut down between the 11 and the 33 machine as Jarl Tien comes to the start-finish line. 6.6 seconds, so Jarl's coming. But is he burning the tires off, working his way up through these guys? Because now he's got to work through the same lap traffic the 11 and the 33 are working through.
Lahey has Randall Fox, and then he'll have a lot of clean room, maybe to the end of the race, if he can just get by him. And then if I'm on the box of Alex Bergeron, I say just go for anything you got, pass anyone you can as fast as you can, because once he's got clean room, it might be over. And so we have a little bit more than 10 laps to go, and Bergeron's also got to run as fast as laps he has. Jarl Tien, it might be too late in the game because he's only got he's got a full 6.8 seconds. 6.6 seconds, sorry, of time to make up, and we thought it was going to come down a lot quicker, but just has not for him. Everyone on back is more than 10 seconds beyond, and unless something big happens to your lead, I don't think anything's going to happen for these guys. So looks like the 33 is going to try and get around the 38 here, and the hairpin is not going to be able to quite do so right now. But this will be the last lap car he's got to, and it looks like the 38 does the same thing for Keegan that he did for now. He does for him. He's going to let him by.
Gap now 2.2, so that's all we're going to watch here for the next few laps here as Alex Bergeron continues to work his way through these guys. Now they're on the same bit of racetrack between the two of them. That 33 can see the 11 out the front windshield as they climb the hill up into the second set of uphill corners. Now down the hill into turns number 4, A and B. Downshifting, hopping, is actually going to steer clear of the curb, at least on the inside, and he's going to ride it over on the outside. Now that Alex has got clear room ahead of him, Coop, what do you think is going to happen?
I think Alex is probably going to catch him unless something big happens, but can he pass him? That's something I don't know if I can answer, because I think he's going to get fairly close to him. I know I have a good feeling that Alex has the ability to get up there with the tires he's got. I think he's really just got to make sure he's disciplined to get through this. We've seen him drive really fast before. We've seen him really get up there and make good moves. He's just got to really piece it together, and it looks like the 11 just got by the number 42, Randall Fox, and we said that was going to be something he had to do quickly. He did, and now it's going to be how fast that the number 33 can get by. Because like I said, there's a lot of room between himself, the leader, and David L. Brown, because I think that's going to be the gap that we're looking at, is because when they're on the same playing field, Alex wins. He wins the difference in speed right now. He's only 2 seconds back now, and so now the 42 is going to be that barrier in between. It's how well you can get through this lap traffic.
Go back into the same part of the course we covered last time by as they go down the hill now. 2 seconds flat. The gap between Keegan Lahey and Jarl Tien has stabilized at 6.6 seconds. While this gap's coming down, I want to update you on a few guys. We got 21 cars on the lead lap so far here, Austin. Biggest mover looks like, to me, either between Blade Witt. Actually, it's pretty close between Blade Witt, Jacob Harperts, and Mitchell Hunt. Mitchell Hunt and Harperts are actually 13th and 14th respectively, so I think they'll tie for biggest mover so far. And we've covered Jacob Harperts all day about how many positions he's made up. So far, 11 on the course, and the same can be said for Mitchell Hunt right behind him.
The other guys have really made it through the field nicely. I think you're definitely right, and I think maybe Randall Fox is the only other driver that we could say, actually, he is the other driver that we're willing to talk about the biggest mover. Despite now being a lap down, he's come up 20 positions, which is madly impressive. I know he'll be a lap down, or it'll kind of be one of those things where you kind of go, oh darn, but 20 drivers in the Pro Series is a big feat for these guys who really haven't made a name for themselves yet, and so for him, we'll give him a little bit of light of day here on the broadcast, because that's a huge achievement here at a road course that you start at the very tail end of it and you make it that many. You're just faster. I don't think there's any way to say it, Gabe. You are just faster at that point when you can get through the field at a road course, because there's no cautions to slow you down.
Inside 10 laps to go now, 1.874 the gap between Keegan Lahey and Alex Bergeron. Update on Keegan Lahey and the 33 of Alex Bergeron. Alex led from the pole till the halfway point. Whenever both those drivers came down pit road, Keegan was catching him. If you're just joining us, Keegan was catching him. Whenever they started to pit, they started to make their one and only green flag pit stop. And Keegan pitted just, what was it, 1 or 2 laps earlier than the 33 machine, and at 2 seconds a lap faster, that was enough to springboard him 6 seconds in front of the field. So Keegan has maintained the lead since then, but now the gap's starting to come down from 6 seconds now to 1.8, and it looks like a little bit closer this time by.
Well, if I remember correctly, I think it was more than a couple laps, Gabe. I mean, I think Keegan came in before lap 25, and then Alex came in around like 26, 28 or something around there. So I think he's got more than 2 laps of fresher tires, which is a big deal because he's still continuing to chip off. And like I said, whenever both those drivers are on equal playing field, Alex has the faster car. Now, I think at this rate he's got about 2 tenths per lap, and unless Alex is really going for it, I think that's going to be the rate that he's going to be catching him. And I think unless a big issue comes with Alex, he's going to be there. He's going to be right there waiting for some mistake to happen. And this is getting close. This is like almost a few years ago, whenever Evan had covered I think Michael Connie. And it was a really close race. I think we might be coming to something close like that. But we'll just have to see. I mean, we still got a lot of racing left, more than about 8-9 miles to go.
We may be coming to actually a situation with Tony Stewart and Denny Hamlin a couple years ago. We saw Denny Hamlin get caught by Tony Stewart in the closing laps, and off the final corner of the last lap, Tony Stewart was able to edge him out. So we may see something that close here at the end of this race, Austin. The gap continues. We should see 2 tenths again as they come to the start-finish line. What's it going to be? And also, Keegan has 2 more lap cars to pass, and they're probably going to be caught this lap.
Keegan needs to get to those lap cars. He needs to pass them quickly if he's going to do anything. But the lead stabilized in that previous lap, so it's really good for Keegan. Bad news is, like you said, he's got some traffic to deal with. And I think once he gets around those 2, it's probably be the last 2 drivers he gets around, unless he's that much faster and he's being pressured by the 33. So I think he'll catch these drivers, like you said. I agree, and he'll have to figure it out. They're pretty close together, so I'm not sure how that's going to be different. But also, Alex has to really capitalize on this. He knows that he's going to be caught, and this will be where he's the slowest. And look at him there; he gets a really good entrance in that corner. So here's where all the dough's made between Keegan and Alex. He's got to make it through these corners. He slides pretty decently right there. That was a good slide on the right side. You can see the 31 kind of pulling over to let him on by, and if he does the same thing for the 33, I would assume he would, and that's going to make the battle, I think, just that much easier for these guys, and a little bit more fair, I would say.
What's going to happen as they come into the final here, and Keegan locks the brakes up. The car starts to do a little 4-wheel slide. He lets off the brakes, let the car stable out. So 31, he's going to run wide, should let off here, and he does. So he's going to let the leaders fight it out toward the end. Closing in on 5 laps to go here. Should be 7 at the line. And it is as they head back up the hill now on lap number 49.
1.1 seconds is the gap here, Gabe. It's getting closer and closer, and you can see it right there. It's about 6 car lengths between those 2, and with the number 8 of Steven Wilson letting him by, I think this is going to be really in Bergeron's hands. It's a race, though. Anything can happen between now and then. We've got 7 laps, or 6.5 if you don't want to be that precise, but it's getting close and down to the wire. We're going to be close to just the final laps of this thing, and Alex Bergeron is in a position to really make this happen, and this is really kind of a big test moment for both drivers. You know, Keegan Lahey could be in the position later on in the season, or if he makes it to the NASCAR Pick Antifreeze Series, to have a hard charging driver behind him at a big stage like this. So Bergeron closing in, and Keegan Lahey cannot make any mistakes now.
Following up on a couple battles as they continue to get closer and closer, I want to update you. It looks like Brandon Pipgrass, Mitchell Hunt, and Mikael Cato having a good battle here in the 23 machine as they head up into the first part of the lap. David Rattler getting a good entry to the corner, but he's going to lose it coming off as they work their way around the 30. Just want to update you on that while we continue to watch the lead.
Yeah, I'll continue to watch the lead no matter what, because anything can happen. But those guys, I did get a good glimpse at them, really packed and stacked together for 10th position, or sorry, not 10th, for 12th position, as those guys still basically nose to bumper when it gets to coming to those hairpins. But Alex Bergeron, 0.8 seconds, coming to 5 laps to go this time by. Alex will definitely be there if he continues at this stride, and I think it's just a matter of moments before we see exactly what happens. And I just see Alex getting through these corners a lot better here, Gabe. He's getting through with the S's and not sliding. He's getting in and out of the corners very nicely. And the 11 has had his really good moments, but he's also just on those older tires. He can't, I don't think, just do it as well as the 33 just based on what he's got right now.
Yeah, I'm seeing the 11 machine even break loose on the straightaways whenever he gets into it just a little bit. He runs a little bit wide there through the right-hander as they come down to turn number 11. It's a hard break, but it looks like Alex is able to break a little bit later. He's going to be able to make it up, and he hugs that apex really tight, and he closes in by about a car length and a half coming off the corner. We got to remember that this is a road course. Anything can happen. Y'all teeing, if these guys end up taking each other out, may see a upset winner who hasn't led a lap all day. As Keegan, he gets really loose at the top of the hill.
5 laps to go here as Keegan Lahey attempts to hold off Alex Bergeron. We know that Alex Bergeron has the wheels, and they were actually up off the ground coming up the hill right there, and so it's definitely getting to be almost heart-pounding right here just to see how close Alex Bergeron is going to get before he strikes. When will he make the move? How long does he wait? Because he still has a lot of time here, Gabe. I mean, he's actually kind of in a position to make a move right here at the end of this race with less than 5 laps to go. Alex Bergeron is really in the best seat in the house this entire race. He got a faster car, has better tires, and can make the move if he's got the opportunity. He can't wait too long, of course, but going through the S's, you can definitely see he's not pushing it as hard as the 11. You can see him get really loose out of the S's, and give me a big push here for the 11 or for the 33 of Alex Bergeron if he can get through this corner well. And the 11 does not. Loose. He's right there. Yeah, the 11 of Keegan Lahey, he gets really loose out of into the corner and just is not able to really be as snug as the 33. I like what you said last lap. So Keegan still holding him off, but you can definitely see the mishandling that he's got compared to Alex right now.
Gonna be close here as we're now at 4 laps to go. As the 33, he takes a wide entry, but he's gonna be able to drive a little bit straighter off. As looks like we got actually Jarl Tien. Wow, Jarl Tien drops now back to 4th as it looks like he got into a little bit of trouble. Looks like he actually hit, as I talked about in the pre-race show, Austin, the right-hander right before you hit the hairpin. He just misjudged it and went right into the tire wall. Misfortune
has drawn upon the number 7, and he is still going, but has a lot of left side damages. Where they're coming through right here in this next corner, that's where the number 7 had bailed on the track and just got a little too hot, was searching for too much, and went into those to the outside tire barrier. And he's going to try and salvage what's left, and he might still get a top 5 as he's 3 seconds ahead. But there goes the number 33 hitting another cone, and with the 11 going wide, this is going to open the door for the 33. Not quite yet. The 11 knows if he hugs it too much, he might have too much wheel spin. So I would say that is probably better. And if Alex goes and tries to cut it, he might have more drive off than the number 33. So as they go up the hill, just 3 laps to go. It's an impending moment here. When will Alex Bergeron make the move? He's right there, 1 car length.
3 laps, 33 corners to decide it here with 4 races to go in the iRacing Pro Series. It's the final stage on the way to the biggest stage, the Peak Antifreeze Series. And these guys are racing their hearts out as the 11 Heave hops it over the curbs. Here he goes, the 33 of Alex Bergeron. He's going to dive it down to the inside. We're going to get the crossback from the 11. Little bit of a bumper. And the 11, he tried his best, but he lost it there in in the corner right before the S's. And it looks like Alex Bergeron now going to run away with this. What a pass.
He made sure that the mistake was deadly there for the 11 of Keegan Lahey. He made the mistake going down outside the hill out of turn 3, and made sure that he was punished, because that was a big mistake from the 11. Got real loose, got really out of shape, and Bergeron was just there to capitalize and made it really happen. I think that was a really, really good awareness from him to see if the mistake happened, hit the momentum, go to the inside, and make it happen, because Kagan just was not having the handling that he wanted to right there, and he's now a full second over him. So that just shows you how much Alex still has under the hood, under that machine, and in the tires. That was a very good pass, very textbook, and didn't have to make it happen. He just waited, and that's really the way you want to make the pass, Gabe, is just waiting for an opportunity like that.
2 laps to go, less than 2 laps to go, and Alex Bergeron continuing to run away with it. Colton Davis, he's still in the 3rd spot as your LT, and he has not lost 4th, so I think the number 7 machine, after the bad luck he had in Darlington, I think he's going to walk away still with a top 5 here in Sonoma. Season not gone according to plan for the number 7 machine, but he's starting to recover here in the late going with some very fast runs. Casey Kerwin, Garrett Lowe, they're continuing to fight there for the 5th spot. It's Casey Kerwin, he's going to dive it down to the inside, almost made it. He's going to have a 4-wheel slide coming off the corner.
Yeah, and he's faster than Garrett Lowe right now. I just looked at their times. He was 2/10 faster, so definitely have to keep the scoop on those guys as they'll continue to definitely fight between the end of this one. And looks at the number 33 of Alex Bergeron will receive the white flag this time by, permitting any issues for the 33. This should be a cakewalk for 2 miles to the end of this one, and he goes up the hill and just have to navigate some corners, and he's actually now 2 seconds in front of Keegan, so he had a lot more speed than he was showing there. There's a lot of good patience, as we're seeing now, and I think this is some of the best driving I've seen from Alex Bergeron.
Yeah, and I think Keegan just destroyed his tires, mirror driving for those 4 laps that he had Alex behind him, and it was a good piece of driving from the number 11 machine, I'll have to admit, because he did one heck of a job handling a really ill-handling race car there for those few laps. He did a heck of a job hanging on to it, but it just wasn't enough to hold off that 33 machine, as he's half a racetrack away, about 5 corners away from a victory.
He'll come down through the S's and make his way down to the final hairpin here shortly. Alex Bergeron, I think there's been a race waiting for him in the future that he's been wanting to really show his dominance, his skill. I think this one might be one of many in the future. So he'll come around turn number 10. Actually, I think it's technically number 9. So he'll come around the final corners here. Alex Bergeron navigates the final corners here at Sonoma and dominates this race here at the end with a very, very good race car. Number 33 of Alex Bergeron wins here at Sonoma.
What a great win. We thought he was going to walk away with it in the early going, but the 33 machine, he came back. Keegan Lahey, we thought he was going to play spoiler, and then we saw Jarl Tien really play spoiler until the tires went away. But Alex Bergeron ends up capturing the victory in that number 33 machine. And I heard him earlier today, he expected to actually run in the second split, but he ends up winning from the pole in top split.
That's a really interesting thing you said there, because he had a fast car to win this race. He was in second split. I think he'd even made it look even easier, but seeing the number 11 come up next to him and kind of do a little slide in front of him. I bet that's kind of like a wave to number 33, and he'll continue to walk it down the speedway and enjoy this one. And we'll go through the full field rundown while he finishes the course on his cool down lap. So he'll get the win. And then you've got Keegan Lahey, who finishes second. He's having a little bit of fun in the dirt there. And then you've got Colton Davis, who finishes third. Jarl Tyan finishes fourth. Garrett Lowe fifth. Casey Kerwin sixth. Nicholas Shelton finishes seventh. Brad Davies eighth. Michael Briglia finishes ninth, and then Dallas Tasco finishes 10th.
Benjamin Nelson comes home in 11th. Jake Nichols, Jacob Harberts, who put in a good showing for biggest mover, along with Mitchell Hunt in the 27 machine. It looks like the 33 is doing some drifts there down in the S's. Mikhail Cato in the 15th and final spot inside the top 15. Brendan Pipgrass, David Rattler, John Gorlinski is your final driver in 18th to finish on the lead lap. He finished in the 18th, started 12th, so not the night that the 34 machine wanted. Your driver's finishing one lap down. Blade Witt, Stephen Wilson rounds out your top 20.
Brandon Fox goes 21 positions on the night, so he'll finish 21st. Then you've got David L. Brown, 22nd. John Batts. Charles finishes 23rd. 24th is Robbie Brable Jr. And 25th is Will Cooley. Brandon McKissick finishes 26th. I finally got his name right on the first time. Then Brian Blackford finishes 27th. Liam Brotherton finishes 28th. Kyle Putz finishes 29th. And then Braden Bullows finishes 30th.
Final drivers to finish tonight. Adam Benefield did not have the night he wanted, along with Michael Guest. Zoltan Hertzek in the 33rd position. Zahil Mustak in 33rd. Brian Fick, Joshua Campbell, Nicholas Morse, Jeremy Davis in 38th. Glenn Rockefeller, Logan Sheets round out your top 40, and the final few drivers, Jesse Schwartz and PJ Sturgis. And it looks like we got some drag racing going on between the 23, the 1, and the 28, so some celebrations going on by a lot of these drivers, Austin.
That's actually really funny as they'll go, and I'm sure they'll probably wreck the machine.
Oh, yep, there go the cars.
There he goes. Oh, right into the...
Pulls the Jimmy Johnson there.
Yeah, but 33 of Alex Bergeron had a lot of celebrating to do, and I'm sure this will be definitely a highlight for him in his career. Looking forward from that. But we'll take a quick break. We'll talk to him, Keegan Lahey, Colton Davis, as we'll come back. You've been watching the Pro Series with LSRTV, your home for sim racing here at Sonoma.
This broadcast is the copyrighted work of LSRTV, and it may not be rebroadcast, retranslated, or used in any form without the express written consent of Live Sim Racing LLC and iRacing.com Motorsport Simulations. LSRTV would like to thank you for your support, and we hope you enjoyed tonight's broadcast.
Welcome back to the Sonoma Raceway. The dust has cleared and we finally have a winner. Alex Bergeron wins after 55 laps of competition and an hour and 14 minutes of shorter racing we normally see for the Pro Series, definitely because the lack of cautions, but these guys actually did not get out of shape that often here tonight, Gabe. But we'll go first and foremost to your winner, Alex Bergeron. Alex, in Victory Lane, this is probably one of your biggest races you've had. Talk to us about your win here at Sonoma.
Well, we put ourselves in a good position by qualifying on pole. I was quite surprised of the result in qualifying. I knew it was a good lap though. I mean, it was really fast. But in the race, just being patient. The start, I mean, being first helped us a lot, and just with the lap car, try to go through. And I know Keegan had a little bit of trouble with the lap cars a little bit, but you know, we catched him and we made the move. So that was pretty clean race and a good move. So I have nothing else to say about it.
Going forward, I'm not sure exactly where you sit in points for the Pro Series, but moving forward and going on to the races, does this really put in perspective for the rest of the races how the rest of the season is going to go? Is this something that you were expecting to be a really good race, or how did you kind of expect this was going to go for you tonight going to Sonoma? And did you know you're going to be on the pole with that yet of a time?
No, seriously, I didn't know I was gonna be on the pole, but I put quite a lot of practice this week, and you know, it cannot affect the other races because it's a road course and it's unique. There's nothing else. Like you cannot be like I don't know what to say about it. It's just the oval and it's not the same. So I cannot expect what's going to happen next week. But hopefully it's gonna go the same way and we're gonna have some good results with good points, so we can make it to the top 10 this season.
Well, Alex, I'll say that this is probably one of the best races I've seen you in. You know, you've been here for a while, I've been here for a while, and I think Gabe's been here for a while. So I think this is a really, really good race for you. Before we let you go, who makes it happen for you?
The drill spill, you know, the guys back at the shop, they made a good work on the car this week. I cannot thank them enough. For all their hard work. Crowder Crew, Mara Inc., and all the other sponsors, and also Garrett for Garrett Lowe finishing 5th tonight. He had a good race. So I cannot say anything else. It's just perfect, and you know, just big thanks to you guys as well for broadcasting, and hopefully we'll see you in Victory Lane next week as well.
There you have it, Alex Bergeron with an outstanding race tonight, and we'll send him back down. Victory Lane is where he'll stay, but we'll talk to him maybe possibly in the near future. We'll go down the road to Keegan Lahey, who will find himself with Gabe Wood.
Down here on pit road, didn't actually expect Keegan Lahey to even be up in contention for the win because we saw the 33 machine just drive away. But Keegan, what were you doing there on that first run just to kind of run down the 33 machine in the late going?
Yeah, the problem with this track is it's pretty much impossible to pass anyone unless you either get let by or you use them up. And I spent about 5 laps behind Garrett. It's not like he's crazy slow or anything. It's just when you're trying to pass someone, you're slowing him down and you're slowing yourself down, and meanwhile the leader just drives away. So, you know, it's 5 seconds, and that doesn't take too long to add up on a road course. And you know, once I got out in second, on similar tires to Alex, I had a little bit of pace on him and I ran him down a bit. But I just had worse tires at that last run and had a few bad breaks with some lap cars. Had to avoid a wreck. I'm not sure if you guys caught that or not, but there was a car sideways in the hairpin. And it just didn't work out, but I'm definitely happy with second. This Pro Series, you're not really going for wins, you're just going for the points. And I'm definitely happy with the points.
Now, that second run after you came down pit road and you walked away with the lead, you know, did you think about saving your tires, or, you know, did you just kind of burn them off, or what happened there toward the end when Alex was able to catch you?
Yeah, the problem with saving tires, for me at least, is whenever I save tires, I save the fronts more than the rears. And this track burns off the rears. So all you accomplish by saving tires is you save your front tires, and then you end up with a looser car than ever. So really, for me, the best way to drive is just to get as much out of the car while you have tires and then just deal with it later. Again, I would have been fine if I didn't make any mistakes and didn't have any issues with lappers, but just the way she goes, and Alex drove a great race too.
All right, Keegan, well, anybody you want to thank before we let you go?
I worked with Jarl Tyen this race, actually. It was the first time we worked together in a year or so, and it was really good working with him. Came up with a really, really good setup. And also thanks to Chris Shearburn for the help the last couple of weeks. He's been putting in a lot of work.
All right, Keegan. Well, congratulations. Now I believe I'm caught up now with the driver who finished third. Congratulations, Keegan.
Thank you.
Down here with the driver, the number 18 machine, Colton Davis. Didn't actually expect you to finish in the top 3, but you did after a late race mistake by Jarl Tyen and the number 7 machine. How did you pull off this top 3 finish?
It was just stay calm and conserve your stuff. Got to make it to the end.
Now, you finished 15 seconds behind, but you qualified only 2/10 behind your eventual race winner, Alex Bergeron. You had the pace, but it was more difficult just keeping the pace throughout the run. What was the problem? Your consistency, or just the tires going away when you really needed them the most?
It was the starting spot and him having that really good launch on the start. So that was almost 2 seconds worth right there. And then just trying to maneuver my way through the traffic.
Oh yeah, I didn't even recognize you did start 8th, so you were the highest finishing driver to make up more than 5 spots. So you did do very well. You didn't have very far to go, but it is worth a lot here at Sonoma. You had guys like Keegan Lahey, Colton Davis, and you had PJ Sturgis, who worked his way up through the field as well. Did you fear any of those guys? We know PJ got taken out early. If things have gone different, did you see the result of this race going any differently?
Yeah, PJ is really fast on the road courses, but he's not in the points, so I wasn't really worried about it. I was just thinking about points.
All right, Colton. Well, before we let you go, anybody want to thank?
Yeah, I want to thank everyone on Dead Zone, and especially Ryan Lowe for helping me out in this race. R-Laps and K1 Speed.
I will say I did try out one of those R-Laps simulators at PRI this year. They are very good, so a little bit of a sponsor plug for me as well. So, well, congratulations, Colton, on a 3rd place finish.
Thank you.
Now I'm sent back to Austin Coop. Do we have anybody else to interview here?
Yeah, I do believe we've got Jarl Tyen, and we'll probably get to Garrett Lowe here in a second too. Jarl, you had yourself a pretty good race. You started 4th, ended 4th, but I think you're definitely expecting to have maybe a position 2 or 2 more. Talk to us about what happened late in the race.
The mishap already started in qualifying. I let 4/10 get away from me, so I should have gotten pole relatively easy, but 500s away from pole, and I start P4. Wasn't too happy with that, but just be careful from the beginning and then just stay in 4th. Wait for people to destroy their tires. Garrett kind of slowed down and got by him eventually. Running 3rd, pretty solid, and then 2 guys in front of me pitted a little earlier, so I expected to come back at the end of the 2nd stint, but that meant that I had a lot more traffic. I felt like I got a lot of the bad traffic. I guess everyone got traffic today, but I felt like every time I came back behind someone, they would start battling someone. And it was really, really hard. And then with 4 to go, my game tabs out, and I slam right into the wall. And I lose 3rd place.
Well, I don't know how you would be able to make up like you did with tabbing out of the sim, but that's finally impressive on its own. I did not know that happened. I did not see it, so that's impressive on its own, to be fair. But definitely one of those the simulation things that kind of gets you. But talk to us about your season overall. I know you've had some races that haven't gone your way, and it's just kind of that issue kind of stings even more that you've had some bad luck, but you're still actually in good standings on the points, and this helps you out quite a bit getting a good finish like this. What else needs to happen between now and the end of the season to get you closer and closer to getting in that top 10?
So far with the season, I'm relatively happy. A few races here and there that could have gone a lot better. In particular, Homestead. Texas, I wasn't good at all. And Darlington, I screwed myself of a 2nd place finish, passing the pace car, entering the pits. But what needs to happen is basically finishing in the points, like in the top 10. That's all I need to do, and I'll be cruising into, around 8th, 9th place. We've made a base for a Richmond Dover already, so I think already by default we should be pretty high up.
Well, Jarl, you've had yourself a good race tonight. I know it could have been just a little bit better, but before we let you go, let's have you tell us who makes it happen for you. Shoutouts and sponsors for you.
No sponsor, but today and for this week, I've had help from Keegan, and I have worked together. We've made a pretty solid setup. Just didn't work out in this weather, so I just got to thank him for that.
All right, there you have it. Jarl Tyen, right? Is it Tyen or Tyen?
That's Tyen.
Okay.
Well,
You finished fourth, and we'll. Yeah, I was going to discuss it, but it's all right. It's your name, so you're the right guy. But we'll talk to you soon here.
All right, see you guys.
All right, we'll move him down, and then we'll talk to Garrett Lowe here, last driver for the night. Garrett, you finished in the 5th place position. You started 3rd, so only -2 on a road course, which isn't too bad. Talk to us a little bit about your race.
Great job by everybody on the drill spill, Crowder crew, number 1 machine tonight. Thanks to Ashton Crowder on top of the pit box for helping our race. We started out pretty good, got up to 2nd there at the beginning of the race, and 3rd had some pressure from behind. I didn't really realize how much I was holding them up, and then once they got by, obviously that was quite clear. So it kind of settled back from there around 5th. Fell to 7th after pit stops, but was able to work my way up in the last 10 or 15 laps up to back up to 5th there. So it was really good.
Well, Garrett, we talk about how important each points paying position is to you. I don't see in the top 25, but there's always room to get back into the top 20 and try and make it into a better position. What races are on the schedule do you look forward to really take advantage of between now and the end of the season?
Well, this was probably the number 1 race on my list that I really circled for the last 4. Other than that, I think we'll do pretty good at Richmond, and Daytona is always crazy, so can't really count on Daytona very much. But Dover ought to be interesting as an addition to the schedule, so I'm excited to go there and see what happens.
Well, Garrett, before we let you go, we'll give you a little bit of the floor to give shout-outs and any other last-minute things you got to say.
Yeah, I just want to thank everybody on the drill spill for all their hard work. We put in hours and hours to help this team go fast this week, and great job to my teammate Alex Bergeron grabbing the win. That was fun to watch for sure. Really glad that we were able to win the race also, and 5th, and we also had drivers throughout the field doing really well. So it was good weekend, good week overall.
There you have it, Garrett Lowe of our drivers tonight. We thank you for your time here, Garrett.
Yeah, thank you.
I'll throw it back down. I'll throw it all back up to the booth, and I'll grab Gabe Wood back up here because he's been a chatty Cathy here. Gabe back in the booth because he's been a little social bug up down there.
Yeah, I had to clarify on the pronunciation of Jarl Tyen's name. Tyen?
Yeah,
Tyen?
Yeah, for you folks sticking around, it's definitely something that we always discuss, because especially for a race like this, we'll get a list of 42 drivers, and about half of them we haven't even seen before, and we'll just have to figure it out, right, Gabe?
Yeah.
Well, my last and final thoughts of this race here, Gabe, is definitely the fact that I think this is a really big breakout race for Alex in particular. This is a huge break for him in terms of points. He was 18th, and this is kind of just relative because there is a drop week that's still needing to be filed in or taken out, really. But even that being said, it's a huge win for him. If he continues to get top 5, top 10s, he could be looking at a spot in the Nascar PKing Free Series and not have to even qualify any for every week. And for someone like him to kind of redeem himself, I think that's a really cool deal for him.
Yeah, I'm seeing potential, top 10 guys in this league, Austin, or not in this league, excuse me, in this series going into the Peak Antifreeze series. Alex Bergeron, he's close to making it. I think he started the race in about 18th in points, so he's going to have to pick it up here a little bit. Keegan, Colton, Garrett, and especially PJ, unfortunately, he's not going to be able to, I don't think the points are going to line up for him, unfortunately, but it's going to be a very competitive field going into next year.
Yeah, I think we saw one of our most stout classes last year, and I think this class this year is going to be just as competitive. And I think a big thing that we forget to mention is that there was a lot of drivers, a lot of other drivers aside from Ryan Leeser from last year's class that were very strong, and some of them are still here and trying to make their way into the NASCAR Peak Antifreeze series. So as we start to wrap up, if you want to keep up with anything and everything with LSRTV, you can go to livesimracing.com, and with all the festivities we have going on week, we have the simulation series tomorrow, then Upstate Thursday, Friday we have the Super Speedway Cup, and then we have our doubleheader on Saturday with the modifieds and the truck series. So from all of us here in the booth, myself, Austin, Gabe Wood, and Cisco Scarmuza, we thank you for showing up tonight, and we'll see you at the next track.